What's up, guys? We are live. I brought a special guest along with me for the ride today. As if you don't know who he is, Giants fan, Nationals fan, and a correct me, Spurs fan, and what else? And the Yankees. The
And
sports reaction has come along for the ride today, guys. Rich, welcome to the stream.
one more, give you a hint, ladies and balls.
Oh, the Women's World Cup or the the USA national
There
soccer
you go.
team.
What is up, Bobby? What is up, chat? Thank you all for stopping in. And man, we got a show tonight because the sports world has been turned upside down. As a matter of fact, our whole planet, and that's not overboard to say, has been turned upside down with the coronavirus. And me and Bobby are going to talk about the effects on the sports world with all the breaking news that we've had this week.
It's been something, man. And it just seems every hour that goes by, we hear something new. We get new updates. More sports are being canceled. I mean, as of right now in Boston, I don't know how it is in New York, but Boston. Hey, OGR in the house. What's up, guys? What's going on, OGR? You the man, bro. Thanks for the 199 dono. Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for stopping in. But Rich, it's not only Boston. I mean, I'm just gonna run through what my city's going through right now. I mean, the NCAA tournament in Boston has been, as we all know, it's out of here. So much for the games at the Garden that they're gonna play. And the Bruins have, NHL has said we're postponing our season as well. Baseball has just chimed in as of late. The only one that seems to be in the clear and in the safe is the NFL so far. They have a contingency plan of I think knocking off the preseason and seeing how the summer plays out and how this goes through the summer. But this is a widespread sports apocalypse, if you could call it that.
I like the sport cops. Now, out of all the sports we're talking about, I think the NFL is going to suffer the least because there's going to be time to hopefully get this under control. But we're hearing people getting it left and right that didn't even come in contact with people, didn't leave the country. It's just one of those viruses that's being spread very easily. And there's a lot of us that could have have it, and didn't know we had it, and just thought we had a cold, a little something was going on, and we're fine now. So it's really affected our stock market is down. Grocery stores are apparently empty out of everything because people are panic buying. And then for sports channels like myself and Bobby and fans of sports like you that are watching, really going to leave a big hole in our lives because sports were part of our daily lives. Now I'm like, what am I going to do with my free time?
I know. And it happened fast. I mean, it was a snowball. Once we heard that the NBA they were really kind of the spearhead of all this when they found out when that Gobert, Rudy Gobert news had dropped. They were kind of the spearhead, and other sports, they followed suit pretty quick.
It's a snowball effect, Bobby.
Yeah.
So that snowball got rolling with the canceled game and then the suspended season. How are you going to be a sports organization and say, yes, we're going to play and expose our athletes and our fans to this virus when one of the biggest sports on the planet has just suspended their season?
Yeah. It's so the postponement of stuff like that means, not only are we talking about, so these sports organizations are going to lose they're set to lose a lot of money. I mean, and it's interesting because that's going to cause a lot of tension too. Like the players' unions for these, whether it's baseball, basketball, hockey, soccer, MLS canceled their season or postponed their season.
They did. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, MLS just dropped later, or I think late this afternoon. They said the MLS is, so that's Major League Soccer. For those of you guys who don't know, they dropped their news and said that they're postponing their season as well. So you figure, I mean, the players' union's this is gonna be a why, because how do you make money to pay the players? for these teams if no
They're
fans
still
are
under contract.
no fans are showing up to these games, right? And not only that, so let's take it even a step farther for this, right? The advertisers that paid these TV stations to air their games during the Lakers games, during the Celtics games, during the Bucks games. Think of the top 5 teams in the league.
Yep.
No commercials for these people during these games. They're going to have to refund millions of dollars.
Yeah, not only that, but you mentioned refund. You mentioned fans not going to the game. That also equals a refund. So, I mean, the amount of money, it's going to be millions upon millions lost each day. And I'd certainly like to, at some point in the stream, talk about which sports, which leagues are going to get hurt the most by this. Obviously, everybody's getting hurt, whether it's sports or non-sports. Everybody's getting hurt across the world with this, probably in some way. Even if it's just trying to go to the grocery store and buy toilet paper, and then there's not one damn roll in the store, and you're buying Kleenex or something else to, do your number 2. It's affecting us all in one way or another. I told my streamers last night, and I told you, Bobby, I have a vacation plan for next week to go to Vegas. I'm not going. From what I've heard, everything's shut down there.
The casinos are shutting down. They're prohibiting people from gathering in. They're saying a crowd over 100 is dangerous.
Yeah, in Connecticut, where I live, the governor passed an ordinance today where there cannot be any social gathering events of more than 250 people, which obviously shuts all sports down in Connecticut. Not like we have anything going on anyway, but anything, even a simple comic book convention or a cosplay thing, that's going to be over 250 people easily. Done. Shut down. Can't have it. So and I expect this to be in every state.
Yeah.
Which eliminates sports, which they're already self-eliminating for obvious reasons.
I mean, just to piggyback off of that, I work in a trade. They shut one of our jobs down today. Said the risk of coronavirus is too high. Go home. Go home. And this is how it starts, man. Pretty soon, if it escalates the way it has, we're like I said, you're better off just being cautious and take the proper precautions around people, and just make sure that you're doing what you can to make sure that you're being as sanitary as you can, because it's not you that you gotta worry about. You know what I mean?
And it's crazy. When I searched coronavirus on Google early at work, what one of the first things that came up was? A video on how to wash your hands properly. I mean, that's kind of sad where it's gotten to that point that we have to tell people how to just do basic human functioning when you're an adult. But that's what we have to do, because that's one of the ways it's passed, is just not being a clean person. I hate to say it, but if you just I heard a guy at work who refuses to wash his hands, doesn't wash his hands sometimes after the bathroom. I'm like, seriously, that's how diseases get spread. Come on, man.
All right, Rich. So let's take a dive into this a little bit, and we'll, we kind of just did like a little bit of a cold open and just kind of ran down the sport. Obviously, baseball is postponed. There's no more spring training games after. I think after today, there's no more until, and I think they've even pushed the start of the regular season back 2 weeks. So
yeah. The regular season did get late. So spring training is canceled. Regular season at least 2 weeks, which puts us early April.
Like midway through April, I think. So you figure they're going to have about 4.5 weeks to figure this out for baseball. That's what they're banking on. They're giving them a little over a month to figure this out.
4 weeks.
Realistically, I think you're looking at 2 to 3 at least.
Baseball's the one that I thought of. I could see baseball. So if things get under control, I think Memorial Day weekend would be a good target for opening season this year.
So let's do out of the, so hockey, basketball, baseball, and
football.
Hockey, basketball, baseball, and soccer, right? Those are the four that have pretty much said, we're either postponing or canceling.
Well, the XFL season looks like it's over.
Yes. Well, and the XFL has also canceled their season. So out of those, pick 2 that you think are going to come out of this and be really in trouble.
Okay, so the first one that immediately came to my mind when all this broke down, the XFL, I think, is in serious trouble right now. It's a brand new sport. The attendance for the first time went down a little bit recently. The TV ratings have been on a steady decline. And the worst thing that can happen to a new sport that's trying to establish an audience is to not play and not be on TV. So they're going to disappear. And when all this coronavirus nonsense is, and I'm not, when I say nonsense, I mean just because it's such a problem. When this clears up, whether it's, let's say, the end of April, end of May, the XFL season is over at that point. People are going to quickly forget this and move on to the sports that are being played. Maybe the NBA playoffs, baseball, whatever is being resumed in late April, May, whatever. The XFL season will be over. They can't afford to not be on TV right now. They're trying to create something new. So I think this puts the XFL out of business. I hope I'm wrong. I think they're in a lot of trouble. The other sport out of all those, I hate to say it, Bob, I know you're a big fan. The NHL has trailed out of the 4 big sports in the United States pretty much my whole lifetime. The NFL, NBA, and MLB have always been ahead of it. The NBA is going to be fine. If they can get their entire playoff season in, they'll rebound. It's such a huge sport worldwide, so many international players. The NHL, I think, gained a lot of interest last year, even from me with the St. Louis Blues being the underdog of all underdogs, coming from a last-place team to winning the whole darn thing. Sorry to bring that up against the Bruins, but it made for a very intriguing David versus Goliath NHL Stanley Cup. And now you lose X amount of games in the season. I think the XFL is going to go out. The NHL will bounce back, but I think this is going to hurt them a little bit. You got a super chat, by the way.
Hey, Seabass. Thanks for the super chat. $1 in the chat. What's up, man? Thank you for the super chat. Glad you are enjoying the content. Welcome to Butcher's Block and Patriots Talk with special guest, the Sports Reaction. By the way, guys, the Sports Reactions link is in my description. If you don't have them already, go and grab that dude up. Not only is the content excellent and the editing skills are phenomenal in the videos, the fact or fiction ones are a lot of fun, and the dude is just a great human being. So go and
a talented musician at that too.
What?
And a talented musician.
And a musician. The guy does a little bit of everything. So go grab the link, guys, and go drop a subscription on him.
Thank you. And if any of my people are here, and I should have, can I share this on the Twitters? I don't know how to share that.
Hey, JD with the 99-cent super chat. What's up, dude? Thanks a lot, JD. How you doing, brother?
I'm going to share this up, Bobby. Well, you give your opinion on which 2 sports do you think are going to be hurt the most by the coronavirus.
I completely forgot about the XFL. That's a good point, though. That is a very good point. Being a brand new league and trying their best to draw as much attention to themselves as possible. You know what? So I didn't think about that before, but that is a good point.
I might use a good point. So XFL 1, do you think it's different?
I'm gonna go the one that I think is gonna really kind of suffer in this is baseball. If it goes any farther than they plan, which I think it's going to. I think it's going to go farther than they have their little contingency plan for. Baseball contracts are fully guaranteed. What are these guys? What are these guys making annually?
Oh, I mean,
the Yankees payroll is like $190 million. Think about it. How are they going to, if you chop an entire month off, Yankee Stadium's got 16,000 people in it. You're talking, I think I think it's going to hurt them a lot. And the sport is already losing. They're already losing viewers. You know what I mean? It's already been on the decline. So I'm going to go baseball as the one, and then I'll go with hockey at number 2, because hockey needs those playoffs. They need those playoffs bad.
They do.
Because how many people? I mean, let's be honest. If you're not a diehard hockey fan, when are you going to turn the hockey games on? A week before the playoff starts, to see the race, to see who gets in, and to see how the rest of the playoffs start.
An interesting thought there. I had not thought about baseball. I think you did mention the Yankees. With the Yankees, though, and a team like the Red Sox, with the really big ones in the in Major League Baseball, they're going to generate revenue from
Other
from their hats, from their
other
jerseys,
means.
from other means. They're going to be fine because they have such an established fan base and so much money that comes in on a regular basis. But the smaller teams that have larger salaries, some of the smaller markets, you might be right. They might be really hurting with those guaranteed salaries. They don't have people buying their jerseys left and right. That could be really a bad thing for the bottom half of the league. Also, local sports, too, something that we didn't really talk about. We talked about the big stuff. Where I live, the AHL's around. Not too far from me, we got the Hartford Wolfpack, the Springfield Thunderbirds, the local hockey teams. Local teams don't get really, I don't think they get any TV play. They live and die off ticket sales. No ticket sales, no revenue. They don't get tons of jersey sales. They don't get I think a lot of sports are going to be in trouble. Will anything collapse? The only one I think that's going to really, really collapse is the XFL. That's the one I think is done after this gets cleared up. Everything else I think will find a way to bounce back depending on the timeline. If this whole can't gather in sporting events thing lasts until, and I hope not, until July or August, we don't have an NHL playoffs and NBA playoffs, those sports will rebound, but they're going to be hurting going into the next season with all the lost money.
Because let's just backtrack for 90 seconds here. So China, when it started all back in early December. That's when we started getting the initial reports coming out of Wuhan and coming out of, China itself, the big major cities in China. That's when we started getting these reports, was early December, mid to early December. And now it's March. So, I mean, take that same timeline and add it now. So we are at the beginning, kind of the same. So same area. What is it? 3 months, 3 whole months. So now you go, call it April, because this month is pretty much I wipe half of this month out. So April, May, I'm going to say beginning to middle of June is when we start to see stuff come back.
Hopefully, but if you watch anything with medical doctors' analysis, it feels like this is going to get much worse before it gets better. And we just look at this week, and one thing that people have to keep remembering is they're like, well, only X amount of people have been reported with it, and X amount of people have passed away from it. That's reported. We don't know the amount of people reported infected could be this. The people that have it that don't know it could be this.
Because it does take a while to present. So that's the problem. Like you could be carrying and not even know it.
I want to say hi to everybody in chat. Somebody did mention to you, Bobby, that be careful, I guess, talking about this virus. We may get demonetized. I don't think Bobby cares tonight. This is
that's a good thing because I've already demonetized it. So fuck the FCC.
Fuck them.
How about
Shut up,
that?
Grandpa.
I can swear all I want because this is demonetized anyways. So whoop.
Why is it? It's demonetizing them, or?
Well, I already turned monetization off because I knew we were going to go places that probably were going to get me demonetized anyway. So
I didn't.
Hashtag demonetized.
So if you talk about coronavirus in a stream, the video's demonetized?
Yes.
Why?
Because they don't want people fear mongering or other they're afraid of widespread hysteria.
Okay, so all right. So even though that's not what we're doing, we're just having a sports conversation. I see what you're. Okay, I had no idea. So I wonder if my
luckily I demonetized it so we can talk about whatever the fuck we want.
Damn, I was bringing it up on my stream last night. It didn't get demonetized, but I wonder if it wasn't in the title though, and I didn't mention it a lot, so I don't know. Anyway.
So it's okay. We're good. We're in the clear.
One thing we haven't really brought up too much: college basketball canceling I believe their tournament's officially done.
Yes, they officially canceled March Madness this afternoon.
Has that ever happened before?
I don't know.
I lean towards no. I mean, just think if this takes a few months to clear up, which being a new virus and still being just really starting to break out now. I can't think of any time in my life where we've had major championships across the board canceled. That would be March Madness, the Stanley Cup, and the NBA Finals. Three biggies played in it, all around each other and just gone.
Yeah, no, it's like the financial like loss in this could be it's like think of how much money. Think about this, Rich. Right. So speaking of Vegas, right? How much money are every single one of those casinos going to lose?
Casinos, hotels across the board, airlines. You told me you went to, I think it was maybe your mom or something, you're picking them up at the airport tonight, a ghost town in Boston, which is a huge airport. Never a ghost town, always rocking, and nobody there.
Well, have you seen the viral videos of like the planes that are flying, like the 747s that are flying with like 3 people on them, and that plane seats like 450?
It's that wow.
Oh, it's dude, it's crazy. Every college in Boston, they sent the kids home. BU, BC.
Yep.
They're sending kids Harvard. It's all they're not messing around with this.
No, all online right now, which I get it. I mean, I was telling you before the stream started, Bobby mentioned he got sent home from work today. They sent an email at my job. We need all of your contact information to reach you outside of work, your telephone number and email, which is all making us think at some point where I work in Connecticut, they're going to tell us you're out of the building maybe for a couple of days, a week to disinfect it, whatever it is. And one thing, before I forget, that I want to mention to you, Bobby, that we haven't brought up in all this sports talk is what sporting event brings the most foreign athletes together to get every 4 years?
Oh, the Olympics.
The Summer Olympics with people from many different infected countries, I always think have the gravest danger out of a huge event to being canceled as well. Even though it's not until the summer, we're going to have people from Asia, from China, from the origins of the lighted orange of the virus. We're going to have so many people coming over different parts of the world. They're going to stick them all together and then ship them back to where they came from. And I can't see that happening. Unless this is completely taken care of, or there's like an easy cure. It's like you pop a vitamin and like a Flintstone vitamin and you're good the next day.
Yeah.
I can see the Olympics being canceled. And I don't remember the last time the Summer Olympics have been canceled.
No, it's that I don't think that come on, I don't think they're gonna have a choice. I really don't think they're gonna have a choice because think about it. Athlete? You know what it is? You know why they're gonna cancel it? Because nobody's gonna go. Athletes won't go. Athletes will refuse to go.
No, it's such a weird time to be a sports fan and a sports channel because the thing that we love covering, and if you're here for Bobby, here for me, or for both of us, you know that we both love doing sports play-by-plays, doing original videos, talking about sports. Each one of us is on here 6 or 7 days a week, or on other channels, supporting them. And now, for a lot of us, that part of our lives have just been ripped away. And I just want to put an asterisk here. I know we're talking about the effect on the sports community. I've seen it come up in the chat again, and some people have said it's just sports. Yes. The most important thing are people's lives and their health.
But see, they're canceling the sports because they're worried. They want to keep the well-being of the trainers, the coaches, the fans, the players. They're worried about everybody's well-being. That's why they're saying, guys, we can't bring this many people together. We can't do it.
No. And
so at the heartbeat of all this, it's the well-being of everybody. They're doing it to make sure that that this doesn't spread, that you don't ever have to deal with it.
No, they're trying to keep people safe. And the NBA was a perfect place to start because not only is it a big sport, but think about the NBA. Close quarters, players are constantly, I would say there's more physical contact body-wise between NBA players than any other sport. You're sweating, you're getting your sweat on the guy next to you, you're biting him up, he's running into you, you're passing a ball around, you're sweating around between players. There's just so much, bodily fluids being don't make it, it's not saying it's dirty, but being exchanged during the game from sweat. And that's one of the ways the virus gets passed.
You know what they don't want to happen? They don't want to happen what happened with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. Mitchell woke up the next morning, he's got it. They test, they're so like, this is all precautionary to just in a giant containment effort to make sure that that everybody's safe. That's all this is. But like it's widespread, man. It is definitely like widespread for sure. I mean, we've never not like when have we like channels like ours you're really gonna have to we're gonna have to dive into real you're really gonna have to get creative to keep to keep the content coming and make sure that we're still putting out good solid content and delivering on the channel. Like we can't just because the sports world stopped, we can't stop. You can't just stop.
No. It's funny. I heard a younger YouTuber who I'm not going to say the name of their channel just out of respect. He did a video and he's mentioned, I guess my channel's done for now because I can't do anything. And I put a comment like, you got to be creative. I mean, I'm looking forward to the challenge. What content can I do? For those of you that have been to my channel, you mentioned I do a fact or fiction series, and there's tons of subjects I can cover where I don't need sports running right now. I'm a musician too. I have stuff planned. I'll probably do more music stuff, but for those that just live stream only, it's going to really push you into different territories. And maybe this is good for a lot of channels. For channels that don't upload video content on the regular, this will get your creative juices going, thinking, okay, what can I do today that I haven't done before? What can I cover that's going to be interesting maybe in a week from now, a month from now? You're a Patriots fan. You have such a well of stuff you can do with this Tom Brady stuff. You have so much open to you. And you can still live stream your Brady free agency watch stuff. You can do Brady videos. I mean, you have content, daily content you can do on Tom Brady until he figures out where he's going, if he goes anywhere.
So this is an interesting question, Rich. I will let you give your answer first.
Okay.
Let me bring it up.
Somebody said cook. Yeah, Pat 1984, the cooking channel. You are Butcher's Block and Patriot Talk, so you could, throw some meat on the grill or something.
So let me bring this up for you. Does NFL free agency go on without hesitation?
Ooh. Well, that's pretty cool. You can highlight a comment like that.
That is,
I think so, because obviously right now the big issue is having social gatherings, bringing people together in enclosed environments and having the virus spread across. The NFL is going to go in the presumption that they're going to be ready to go and play in September. So I think NFL free agency, there's no reason to stop that. Everything can be done over the phone, online. You can sign a contract, fax it over, I'm old school here. Take a picture of it, email it. So I think free agency, it should not be affected in any way. I think the NFL's got to think positive in that. Since we're only in March right now, their season will continue without any issue come September.
Now, from what I've heard, they plan to not do person-to-person meetings. They can do contract negotiations. They will do contract negotiations strictly over the phone. Contract negotiations strictly over the phone. Also with the rookies, they're from what I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but I've heard that they will no longer be doing the person-to-person meetups with the rookies. Everything will be done via email and like email, Skype, over. There's going to be no physical showing up to these rookies' houses and visit. There's going to be no physical visits from the scouting teams or from all that stuff.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm sorry. I just caught Pat 1984. Rich, Bobby can't cook, brother. Throwing some shade, but the good thing about being in 2020, Bob, you hit it right there, is we have technology. We're able to talk right now together via stream service. So they're going to find ways, as somebody mentioned in the chat, they're going to still need physicals. They're still going to have stuff like that. But as far as, I just can't see it affecting free agency too much. I mean, with these players, a lot of the free agents, you know what you're getting. They just have to pass a physical at some point. You can talk to them over Skype, over StreamYard, whatever the heck you're using, and just, do you want to play here? What are your goals? Blah, blah, blah. I don't think it needs to be in person. And at some point in the future, we're probably going to have job interviews that are like this, just video interviews, because it's going to be easier. You're not going to have to tie up your, somebody for 8 hours, doing interviews in a room. You can, or renting a room if you're doing off-site. You can interview somebody from Texas, from California, from wherever, if they want to relocate. Mm-hmm. This is the future right here. It's the now too.
It's okay though, Rich. I mean, Pat's a Cowboy fan, so We got to cut him some slack.
Yeah,
I'd be salty too. So I mean, Cowboy fans saltier than the Dead Sea.
Jeez. Oh boy.
Come get these rings, Pat. All 6 of them.
My team only has a 4, so I can't really talk. Although the team on my head has more than that.
No, it's hold on, I want to grab. So Coach plays as a Titans fan, so he's kind of giving us a perspective from another look. So here we go with this one. A lot of free agents will be looked over by the team's doctors to make sure that they are clear from a health standpoint to pay them all that money. So basically, team doctors will look them over. They'll be evaluated by the doctors, which smart move.
Yeah, I just all in all, with everything we discussed, I think free agency want it now. If a player has some injury history, yeah. I can't see it affecting that, but you don't know. I mean, we also don't know what's going to happen now from today within the next week. The president just shut down. I think only citizens can fly in and out of the United States right now. With certain countries or Europe, I didn't watch the Trump thing last night.
He banned all travel to Europe.
Okay, so that just happened last night. We saw.
Hold on a sec. Want to do something funny on stream? Watch this.
Oh, geez.
Hold on a second. Hey. Say hi to YouTube. Coming at everybody from the wonderful state of New Hampshire, where there's more trees than people, out in the middle of fucking nowhere, the butcher's girlfriend.
That's my intro. That's pretty badass.
How's that for an intro?
Now you just need a mic with reverb, like WWE style.
All right, we're right in the middle of a live stream. Stay hi to YouTube. You got about 20 people listening to you, so.
Oh, nice. Well, that's good. Well, maybe not for them, but.
All right, I will definitely call you back.
Okay, have fun.
All right, love you.
All right, love you too.
All right, bye.
I will agree, Lou, too, but the virus, if it is, I think, being a little blown out of proportion when we look at how it's affecting people. It's affecting people with respiratory issues. Mostly those are the fatalities in young children. You know what? That's what the flu gets. A lot of diseases, it's not just an elderly person or young person disease, but if you are not healthy, if you have asthma or COPD, any type of issue there, any type of viral infection that affects your lungs could take you down. So it's something new. People tend to panic. Why we're panicking more about this virus than, I remember the swine flu, SARS in the last decade or two, and it was never like this, shutting sports down. And it's a little weird how this virus is just in the past week really taken over the world.
So I'm gonna present kind of a different angle to you with a problem that is more than likely going to come up with the cancellation of the sports. Right? We talked about these sports organizations, losing money, from all this. Right now, how do you think the players' unions for these leagues are going to be? Because here's the thing, right? There's clauses that say if there's an epidemic or pandemic, these owners don't have to pay these athletes.
Oh.
So what are your thoughts on that?
See, that is tough because I've already talked about my job might be shutting down and I fully expect to get paid. It's like if you're telling me I can't come to work, you've made that call, not me. So I would still want to get paid for the time I'm not at work. And I'm going to think every player in every league where they don't have guaranteed pay, they're going to want to get paid. And the owners are going to have no revenue coming in. And they have some large contract. That could get very ugly, Bobby. I don't know how that's going to play out, to be honest with you. Because if I'm a player, people say, "Oh, get your money," and people could say, "Well, the players are greedy. They're making $30 million a year." hello, if somebody came up to you and said, throw a ball in the hoop, I'll pay you $30 million a year, you're not going to be like, whoa, that's way too much. I suck at basketball, man. Don't pay me $30 million a year. Come on, I'm 6'4", I'm thin, I'm white, I can't jump. Don't pay me. No, if somebody's stupid enough to pay you a max contract and guarantee it, you would take it. So as much as we have the players for being greedy, they're being offered that money. Why are they being offered it? Because we're watching them on TV, we're buying their jerseys, whatever. Yeah. So I would want to get paid. And for anybody that gets mad at the players for saying they want to get paid, put yourself in that position. You get told that you got to stay home, worst case scenario, for a month from work. Are you going to want to be 30 days without a paycheck? Are you going to be okay with that? Hell no. No, you're going to be like,
like shout out to the I wouldn't have known that if the guy I forget who it was. It was a Boston beat writer on the radio, on one of the radio after the afternoon shows on the radio, and he said this is going to cause a huge problem with not so much baseball because their contracts are guaranteed, so they will get paid regardless. But any of these contracts that aren't, any of these sports that do not have guaranteed contracts, these unions are going to try and go after these owners to get, so these guys get paid. Because think about it. Think of what do you think the mortgage on a $6 million house is? Monthly.
A lot. And let's be honest, a lot of these athletes, especially the young guys, they get that first contract, buy mom and dad a home. Understandable. I would too. And then their income is they're making a lot of money, but they're probably spending that same amount in that first year, or maybe even spending more, racking up the credit card bills, etc. Now your income is not there, and you still got that huge mortgage. You still have $1,000 more car payment. Maybe you still have mom and dad's mortgage, and now you can't afford it. And maybe you're filing a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. If I'm the players, I want to get paid, and the union's going to fight for it, and that's going to be. Yeah, I'm not a legal expert. I handle lawsuits a little bit, but that was on the car insurance side. But I got to think that if you have somebody you're saying you're going to give a salary to, and you're telling them you cannot come to work, even though it's because of pandemic, epidemic, etc. Of course, that's a catch-22, and I'll address in a second. I would think you have to pay them, but what's that catch-22 that we don't have to pay you? This could lead into something that steamrolls into next year, or even before then. Let's say the NBA says we're not paying the players.
Hold out. They could hold out.
They could hold out
for being
bad. The money, yes, the money that we're owed. They go on strike. So let's say the NBA says we're going to resume the season April 20th, and we'll have a full playoff. But they don't play the players from now until then. You know what the NBA players are going to say? Most of them, what you give us our money, or you don't have an NBA playoffs. And the players can't afford to lose that money. But you know what? The owners, the teams, the franchises cannot afford to lose all that playoff revenue either. So it could get ugly on that side for sports.
That was the angle that the Boston radio was, the guys on the radio were talking about, was that you have to really think outside, you can't just you have to think outside the box, because the one thing these owners can't stand to do is the reason you're able to pay these players this money is because all sorts of different revenue is coming in, whether it's revenue from the stadiums, it's ticket prices, it's the food, the beer, everything that goes with the stadium. It's the ad revenue, the stuff that comes in from the commercials. And you if you just all of a sudden say no, we're not paying. And then they're going to be fighting over that. The player, honestly, the owners have the players kind of by the balls in that situation. Yeah. But at the same time, at the start of next season, that's when the players can kind of push back a little bit. They can be like, you know what? But see, they don't have any leverage at the time. But when the next season starts up, that's when their leverage kicks in, because they can be like, you want to start the season? Guess what? They can, because the players union will be like, you're going to get us the money you owe us, or we ain't coming out on the field.
Yeah, it's going to be
And think about it. We could go, if they do that, right? If this thing lasts, through this season, and then we take the break. What happens at the NFL? What happens if we, if they can't pay him? Like, or if they don't want to pay him.
That's, I didn't even think on. I'm glad I'm doing this video with you tonight, Bobby, and thank you for having me on the channel. If I haven't said that already, that's a good point. I mean, without these guaranteed contracts, this could get real. Whoa, OGR just dropped a big one for you, Bobby. I want you to address that.
Hey, OGR with the $4.99 dono hype in the chat. What about the vendors and people that work at the stadiums? I really feel bad for them. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I don't know if any of you have heard Mark Cuban's comments on that, but I suggest that you go look that up. Cuban, I heard him speak today over the radio in Boston saying that the Mavericks are at the moment so they are already in the works. They're putting a program for anybody who works for the Dallas Mavericks organization that makes an hourly pay and not salary. They will pay. So the hourly workers will be paid by Mark Cuban and the Dallas Mavericks,
That's awesome.
which golf clap for them. That's what you should be doing.
That's awesome. And real quick, ODR, because this setup is working good, and I plan on doing Red Sox streams with Bobby later in the year. So obviously that's going to be interesting because you're going to have a Yankees fan calling a game with a Red Sox fan. But OGR Sports, I'm looking at the streamer. It's my first time using it. This would be a great way to have you on the channel with me when we do maybe Giants games in the year when you can't physically come over. And one quick other thing. Carlos Cheaters asked a couple of times, and I want to address it, Bobby. He asked us, what do we think about Rudy Gobert apologizing to, obviously to, I'm guessing, everybody, because he looks like the biggest dumbass in the history of the NBA right now. To actually quickly go around mocking the virus and touching things.
After that video came out, that was such a bad look where he's just like, and even his teammate, Donovan Mitchell, threw him under the bus so bad. He was like, he talked to the media and he said the same thing, and then he tweeted it out and he's like, I hope you take this serious now. Like you were messing around with us in the locker room. He basically told him, I hope you take it serious now because you got it.
Yeah. It's such a bad look for him, and I know he's apologized. A lot of people, even at work, have been making tons of jokes about the virus, and I'm trying not to because it's a serious thing. I mean, that if we want to joke about people being stupid, buying out all the toilet paper, that's one thing, because that's just people acting goofy, which people will always do when things like this happen.
Panic
jokes about the virus, with people dying and getting sick and hurting the economy. I mean, it's affecting the economy. It's affecting all of us now. We joke about it. Now we have, anywhere from people, the worst things with people's health, but even just on a simple life level, that we don't have sports right now. We have no sports. It's not like the NBA's gone. It's like, nope, NBA went and everything just domino effect today. Everything shut down.
You have to, I do give the NBA credit as soon as they, have you heard how it went down? The Rudy Gobert stuff went down. It was crazy.
I know
the guy was like, that ref found out literally 30 seconds to a minute before they were supposed to tip that off. And they were running with the report through the bowels of this stadium to try and get the test result to the guys on the court. And they luckily they didn't. I mean, if they tipped that game off, and you know how physical basketball, especially when you're going to rebound and stuff like that, and you play a position like Rudy does, you're in constant contact with the guy that's trying to guard you. So that was the way they managed to get that just in time was huge.
Before that game was over, every player that played in that game, Aubrey would have had it.
Yeah.
So it was a good call. And Rudy Gobert has apologized, and I'll say this, he had a very immature moment, which one I'm sure he's regretting like no end now, because he was really the catalyst, because he was the first one diagnosed with coronavirus, to the shutdown of the NBA, which is now obviously the snowball effect. And, I believe in forgiveness. It's not like he did something. If he came out and said, yeah, I did it, I don't care, screw you people, I'll joke about it tomorrow, then that's a whole different story. But I think I got to think at this point, he's legitimately feeling bad. Like, what did I do? I am an idiot. He's only, 25, 26. I'm sure of us all currently involved.
His agent probably called him up and was like, you better apologize.
Oh, yeah. Damage control, PR damage control. So, I mean, I've done some stupid stuff at that age. I'm sure a lot of you that are at that age or past that age like we have can look back and be like, Yeah, I did some pretty stupid stuff in my early to mid 20s, and I wasn't a millionaire at that point. I was just a dumb kid driving a Pontiac Grand Prix or
I
something.
know.
I don't know.
So I badgered him, and finally he's in the chat. It took him a little bit to think it over, but welcome to the panel. The coach plays, guys.
Oh, he's coming in.
Coach,
Hey,
what's up?
What's up, guys? What is up?
nice
So-
to meet you, TCP.
Yeah, man. Appreciate y'all having me. You didn't have to badger me too much, man. I just had to get some food in my stomach first.
So I say that with all the love and respect, Coach. So, what's your thoughts on all this, man?
You know, I don't know if it's hit me. Like I feel like we're sitting here, we're talking about this, and I still don't know if it's 100% sunk in. Like, okay, we went one day full so far, no sports. Call me in a week, and I'm probably going to be in the fetal position, just sweating a cold fever out. Like I'm like, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do. I really don't. Like I'm still 100% just shocked right now. Just shocked right now.
The coach, I've got a solution for all three of us right now, my brother. Butcher's block and porn talk, the porn reaction, the porn plays. We got to go with something, right?
Oh, God.
True.
Rich's channel might do the best with the title. People might get excited over
The
that.
porn reaction. He's going for the money shot. Score! Boom! Shot.
Yeah, hey, you might really like say we could get an uptick in views and subscribers that way.
Hey, you gotta do what you got to do to keep your channel going, my man.
But it's, I mean, Coach, like it's like just like I said, like you really do have to think outside the box. Like the point was brought up, the workers in these stadiums and in these arenas, like, so it's not only the athlete, like the refs for the game, the refs for the games, all the personnel, not just the athletes. It's everybody in, like, I think people underestimate how many people are involved in a single, not just like out, never mind the 20,000 fans that are watching, but the coaches, the medical staff, the referees, the replay guys, the media, all that. Like,
Yeah, no, I mean, they say that this stuff really hits the elderly hard and the youth hard. Well, you got to think a lot of these coaches, whether you're a head coach or an assistant coach, some of these coaches are up there in age. So, like, those guys really can't be around that stuff. Like, as far as college basketball, like, one that jumps out to me, like Tennessee's head coach, Rick Barnes. I mean, he's up there. He's probably near 70. And I know there's multiple other basketball coaches the same age. So, I mean, they actually do need to be, cautious when you're talking about that. I don't know the exact age limit where they're saying that this virus really hits hard, but, so absolutely.
Sorry, that was me.
OGR made the security guards too. All the people that do security for the, like, it's all of it, man. It's crazy. That's a good. I mean, imagine Rich. Imagine Pop gets sick. You know what I mean? Like,
And my apologies for the little echo there. I was popping out the YouTube chat so I could actually respond to you guys a little bit in the chat as I'm signing as myself. I do want to, when we say the elderly, though, we want to, it's not just the elderly per se. If we have somebody that's 70 years old and works out every day, they're probably not going to be affected. It's those folks that have respiratory conditions, and we do associate respiratory conditions with the elderly. My stepfather has had a collapsed lung. He's got COPD. So if he gets hit with the coronavirus,
yeah, the COPD community is the big one. That's where it's where it
No,
could
absolutely.
But it's, I mean, Coach, like, it's crazy, man. I mean,
Well, it's starting to affect more because I just got my wife to tell me some breaking news. So, like, say I'm a high school football coach, and Yeah, well, I mean, it's got to be true. I'm a high school football coach, and the team I coach, the school I coach at, the basketball team is in the state tournament. They're in the quarterfinals. They're just 2 wins away from the state championship. It now looks like it's breaking news that the state tournaments are canceled. And guys,
Really?
these are like,
It's
you
even
think
at the
about
high
these
school
quick-
level now.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. And you think about this, you know, they talk about college. Well, you know, maybe they'll give seniors an extra year of eligibility. Well, high school, you won't. You know, I mean, they're going to move on to college. So these kids who have a chance to do something special in their lives and maybe win a state championship, or even if they don't win it, you know, it's just an honor to go that far to get into the state tournament. And now they're not even going to be able to play one single game in that state tournament because, you know, it's just an unfortunate event like that.
What state
It's
are you in,
tough.
Coach Price?
Tennessee.
Tennessee. I mean, I was talking about it before you joined us, and thank you for joining us, by the way. I think you hit 1,000 recently too, so I just want props to that. Congratulations.
Appreciate you.
I know where I live in Connecticut, they just put a mandate out. Any social gathering, sports, otherwise, 250 people or more is off. So I feel bad for you, bro, but I'm not surprised, and I think we're going to see that happen countrywide.
Yep.
There's going to be kind of a set number, 300, 250, maybe. My buddy in Massachusetts said, I don't know if you can confirm this, Bobby, he said his son got sent home from school because they're saying 200 up where he is. 200 up, it's out. It's going to happen across the country.
It's in Massachusetts, it's 200. Gatherings of 200 or more are banned in the state.
And it don't take much to just get 200 people.
No.
I mean, it's just like my school just closed down for next week. So, you know, I guess they're going to go at this like a week by week basis. But, you know, we've got a lot more than 200 people. We've got 2,500 kids alone in a school, you know, that's not counting staff. And and then it's going to start affecting some churches. I mean,
Really?
we're sports guys in here, you know. We're talking about sports.
That would make sense.
Yeah. I mean, this thing's going to affect way more than sports, and I don't know, man. And the bad thing about it, I kind of posted this in someone's video yesterday. What hurts us the most is, sports and all that stuff. We get fanatics and we love our teams, but man, at the end of the day, it's entertainment and it's an escape from an everyday life. Whether you got some issues you got going on in your life, you can come home and watch your favorite team compete against someone else, and for those 3 hours, you're really not thinking about anything else, you know. And that's why a lot of us do YouTube channels. Like, we love sports so much that we want to sit on here and just chat it with everybody else. And for those 3 hours we're streaming, we don't have to worry about the bills you got to pay or, you know, any other thing that's going on in your life. And now it's like I'm not even a tennis fan, but if tennis was going on right now, I'd be watching it. But not even tennis is going, you know? So I don't know.
What's wrong with tennis, man? I like playing tennis more. Like
not enough contact.
You are right.
You know how we're gonna know this thing is really bad? We just need to inject it into Mick Jagger. If Mick Jagger survives, we're good.
Or Keith Richards.
If Mick Jagger survives or Keith Richards, we're gonna be golden, guys. We're gonna be golden.
Now, you know, if they end up like canceling The Bachelor, you know, I won't be mad. But the Bachelor is going to keep going.
This, it's funny. You made a good point. A lot of us, I'm a live streamer. You guys are too. I'm used to being on here live at 5 times a week for about 2 to 2.5 hours. And and a lot of folks, you know, that come to your streams, they're used to hanging out for 30 minutes, whatever, or jumping between streams, and becomes a regular part of your life, just, you know, doing this. Now that's taken away. And it's like, so wait a minute, what the hell am I going to do? I'm used to calling, you know, such and such every Sunday night or every Monday night. You know, I know you guys are wrestling fans. I assume Raw. I mean, WWE's I don't know if WWE's made an announcement yet, but I got to assume.
Oh, dude, they do more traveling than think about this. Every Monday and Friday, they're in a different, like, they do more traveling. Their schedules are insane. They do their gig, right? They will wrestle in their town that they're in. And I mean, I'm not even kidding. They'll go home, sleep. The next morning, they're up at sometimes 5 or 6 in the morning on another flight somewhere else. You know, it could be close, it could be far. I mean, they city hop every other, every week, every day. And think of all, not only the exposure rate, I mean, they're everywhere. So let's say two of them two WWE superstars have it. And they don't know. And they travel 3 times before they find out they have it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't see how the WWE can continue. I mean, they're going to have to shut it down too.
Well, not only that, we were talking about basketball, how easy it's because there's so much, contact between players, how easy it's to transmit the virus. This is wrestling. You're sweating and laying on one another, which is going to lead me to another thing. I don't know if you guys have heard. Wrestling, I think, is going out. I think WrestleMania is going to get canceled for the first time ever.
I was just going to say that. I was going to. You brought it up before I could. I was going to say, do you guys think they cancel the biggest event of the year, WrestleMania?
Got to.
I think it's going to get I think they're going to have to cancel wrestling altogether. So I think what they're going to do is they'll move it back somehow, do something to where then when they finally get the okay that they can get going, they're going to tell their fans, we're going to grind it for 4 weeks, and the first pay-per-view back is going to be WrestleMania. Now, that's just my first thought, but there's a lot of logistics that will go into that. They're going to have to make sure Tampa Bay can host it at a different date. So, I mean, that's what they need to do. Will they be able to? I have no clue.
Well, and so let's backtrack a little bit. Like, think about this, right? Arizona has a hockey team, right? The Arizona Coyotes. How much money do you think it's going to be for that arena to keep ice in June when it's 113 degrees outside in Arizona? Do you think they're going to want to run those, that's, you're talking hockey well into the summer now if they pick it back up, you know what I mean? You're talking hockey well into the summer. These arenas, I don't know if some of them in these warmer climates are set up to, luckily, Boston, 85, 90 is kind of the Northeast, luckily that's kind of a cap. But for some of these southern areas, you're the Floridas, the southern teams. I mean, you're talking 100 plus. These arenas are going to have to work overtime just to stay cool enough to keep the ice.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's more money coming out of their pockets because they got to run that arena twice as hard.
Yeah. And then, I mean, even at right now, don't you think all concerts have to be
canceled too?
Well,
yeah.
I mean, at least from my state, Connecticut, the mandate is any social gathering, and it includes sports, 250 and up. So that, I don't know where WrestleMania is going to be, but any concert is probably going to be over 250 people. Wherever WrestleMania is, their state probably going to have a mandate by that point. So it's not going to be a question of whether they cancel WrestleMania. It's whether
they just can't.
Are they going to do it in front of an empty audience, which would suck? Wrestling is not any sporting event like wrestling where there's crowd interaction. It's not the same. You want to hear the "you sucks" or "you effed up." I'm sorry, we're in the "you fucked up." Those type of chants add so much, and if you take that out, it's going to suck. It just absolutely sucks. So
we all know what's the best part about going to a playoff sporting event. What's the best part about it?
It's the playoff rally flags for me.
The atmosphere is the best part about it. Just being in with the mob, whether it's, for me, it's, going to the the garden that's jam packed with 20,000 it's a sea of black and gold, sea of black and gold. It's the atmosphere that makes that. And if you take that away, not only are you taking the revenue, but it would just, I don't know if they would be able, it would be, the players would probably have to get used to it. Cause it's think of how quiet an entire 20,000 seat arena is going to be with no fan noise at all. Nothing. It would be weird.
It would, and I'll say this, I'm probably the person that likes hockey the least, I think, out of the three of us. And I do enjoy live hockey, being in a stadium, even when it's just something like Hartford Wolfpack or the Springfield Thunderbirds. I love live hockey. The amount of energy that's in there, even if it's only half full, when there's a goal, it's just ridiculous. And I don't get that same feeling on TV. Maybe that's why I don't enjoy hockey as much when I'm watching it on TV. But live is just such a different experience. Now you magnify that for a playoff atmosphere. Just like soccer, I mean, the audience brings so much to games, and it can really make or break a sporting event. I mean, the audience. I mentioned, I hate to go back to wrestling, but some wrestling matches I've enjoyed because of the audience, not because of what I was watching with the match, but because the audience made it fun. So, you know, back to your point with like the hockey rinks and stuff, and I don't know what they're going to do, because as a hockey fan, I don't know, because the season is supposed to end in June, and it's supposed to only be 2 teams by then. I think what's going to happen is, especially for hockey, if they start the playoffs late, they might have to do a truncated playoffs where it's not going to be the top 8 teams in each, or the top 6 teams. They might have to say, you know what, we can't keep these rinks cold. If we try to push this out to July, we're just going to do the top 4 teams on each side. I mean, they might have to adjust and do something different this year.
And not like, go ahead, Coach. Go for it. Like, oh, you're gonna say
no, you're good.
So here's another thing, guys. Too, like, think about this. That there could be 3 sports, like, like, think about the competition. Like, you're gonna try and jam sporting events in with all, you know what I mean? Like, you're talking just a cluster. Like, think of how much of a mess that could be. Like,
yeah,
just trying to jam a season in between another sport. Like, they're gonna have to. If they really do plan on extending these seasons, right, which they're going to pick them up where they left off, they're going to have to start now planning with these arenas and planning these events. Like, the coordination for who's going to play who and when and where. Like the Bruins and the Celtics, they're probably already in talks because that arena flips. It's the same arena.
Same arena.
Yeah. That whole arena has to transform from a Bruins game to a Celtic game. Like, think about that. Those guys that work, those guys that work are going to be working 24 hours. You know what I mean? Like, let's say the Celtics play an 8:00 game, and there's an 8:00 game at night for the Bruins the next day. They're going through the night easy. Like, that's to do that in 24. I don't even know if that's possible.
It takes more than 24 hours to flip it.
I don't know if it would take. I know, like, that's a feat though to transform, because they do the seats, they do the they put the whole, they drain the, they either drain or fill the ice. I'm telling you, dude,
it's definitely a lot. But I do think it was just earlier in the year. I think I watched a LA Kings game play at noon, and then that night at like 8 p.m. the Lakers played. So I think it can be done. But like you said, the logistics is definitely going to be in there. Like, they're going to, they want to try to stay away from that. Like, of course, like, they would want to try to schedule it to where, the Boston Celtics play tomorrow while, the Boston Bruins play today. They would like to try to get away from those things. So my question is, all right, so NHL, NBA's postponed. What's the date where they have to come out and say, guys, it's canceled? What's the date they push it back to where they feel like they cannot go on any further, play some games, and play the playoffs?
I would say the sooner the better. I would if this thing gets worse in the next 2 weeks, you're probably going to see a cancellation of the season's announcement. If this is not if this thing doesn't plateau off if it's still getting worse, if it's still on the upswing, the NHL is toast. The NBA is toast. They will just, they'll call it a season, and I think the NHL is going to be this. Like, I give it a 2-week window, because they're going to monitor this for 2 weeks, and they also want to see, because I think it's a week to present the cases. You know what I mean? So if it's a week window to actually start showing symptoms. So I give it a 2-week window. If this is still getting bad in 2 weeks, they're done.
I'm sorry. Me and Coach Blaze both went like this at the exact same time. I don't know if he caught it. We were both kind of doing one of these, so I thought it was very, very weird. To answer your question, Bobby.
Yeah, I know.
No, you did a good job to answer that. I think it'd be more because the NBA regular season, I think stops around. I got to guess it stops around the NHL regular season, right around April 15th. I think they would try to push it in maybe a week before that. I think they're going to wait to the last second because it could get worse in the next 2 weeks, and then the next 2 weeks it could get better. So I really feel like they're going to say, okay, the playoffs normally start on April 17th, 18th, whatever. We need to get as close to that date before we just call our playoffs off, because that is a ton of money. That brings a lot of people in. It's a lot of jobs. I think they'll wait. I mean, look at the NBA. They canceled the game at the last minute last night. You said it was like 30 seconds, maybe a minute
30 seconds before tip-off.
They said game's canceled.
The head ref had the basketball. He grabbed it out of the rack and was literally walking to the center of the court to tip the game off. And the guy came running out onto the court and literally grabbed him by the arm. And you know what I mean? Like, and grabbed him by the arm and said, don't, this is not going to happen. So you're probably right. They if it's mid-April where the playoffs, kind of start and the regular season dies down, they're going to wait till the April 12th, April 13th, 3, 4, 5 days before it.
Well, they did it last night. They proved it again last night. I don't know if you guys caught it. Goose Sports, who I've seen popping in and out of the chat, was getting ready to call the Pelicans and Kings. And he said, and this was already when the announcement was that the season was postponed. And at the last second, they canceled that game. So it's like, wait a minute. If you're already postponing the season and you have a game coming up later in the night, why just make the announcement? Why wait to the last second? So I think they're going to wait to the last second for the playoffs, which makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely think they're going to have to wait longer than 2 weeks to make that call, if they can, because I definitely don't see it getting better in 2 weeks. I honestly think you're going to see more and more like cases of, people getting the virus simply because more and more people are going to get tested. I feel like there's a lot of people out there who's got it right now that's just not tested. Yeah. So I think it's going to constantly climb, but then hopefully it plateaus and starts to go downward. I know Mavericks owner Mark Cuban came out and said that he thinks that the NBA would be willing to go all the way to like finishing their playoff seasons in August. So
I did hear that. Yeah, they could do their I did hear that.
And here's another reason why I think they might do that. For the past few years, they've been debating about cutting the season down. They've been debating about pushing the start of the season back because no one really watches it in the fall, late fall, because football.
They compete with the NFL every year. Yeah.
So this would be the perfect time for them and maybe the NHL to say, you know what, we're going to postpone this, start it late, and maybe our championships are ending in August, right before the football season starts. And then we're going to have a shortened season next year, maybe a 60-something game season that starts after December, and then they do it that way. And then that whole year they could be thinking, what did we think about the 70-game season or the 65-game season, Like, because they was already been talking about that for a few years now. So I've heard it through talks either on ESPN or the radio talking about this might be the perfect time that if they want to finish the season, push it back to where it finishes at least in August
and see how it does. And just kind of see how it does. See it,
yeah.
So, Coach, I want to throw a question at you. I want to do a 60-minute rewind since me and Bobby both answered this. Out of all the sports that are being, and I'm not going to preface this with give you a clue which sports it would be, but out of all the sports that we're supposed to be played right now and played over the next few weeks, which two do you think are going to be affected the most by this suspension? Who's going to have the least chance to recover coming out of this?
I mean, my first one, I heard you say it earlier. I mean, I do think it hurts the XFL a whole lot because they're new. Now I do think they're better as far as money than the AAF was, so I think they're going to come back next year. But I don't know how it doesn't hurt them because people want to see the first championship of the XFL. So I definitely think that. I'm almost going to go the NBA because, and my reasoning for that is because I think this has been the best season in the past few years because I think there's multiple teams who have a legit chance of winning a title. For the past few years, it's been Warriors. And, with their injuries they have had, I think there's been more parity across the NBA. I think more and more teams, there was a lot of movement before the season, and I think a lot more teams got balanced. And I think it has showed this whole year with, a lot of races for the top 3 seeds, 4 seeds. Everybody's kind of bunched in. I think we were in for a massive, a great playoff series. And now, that being gone, I think it hurts the NBA. Is it going to hurt them long term? No. I mean, NBA, MLB, NHL, I think they're all going to be fine. But I think the NBA was on track for the best postseason they've had in a long time. And if the fans don't get that, I just think that's going to be a tragedy.
I mean, think about it. There was a chance that we could have gotten another Lakers Celtics final.
Yeah.
Lakers Celtics or Lakers Bucks. I mean, and those both of those or Clippers, or the Clippers,
Lakers Clippers,
or or the Lakers or the Clippers coming out of the East, like it's they're like, and the playoff push for the 6, the 6, 7, 8 seeds though, in those the bottom half of the seedings. They're like, Coach, Memphis is fighting for their playoff life right now.
Memphis and Pelicans. Yeah. I mean, and there's a lot of people who's been watching that. Like, I just think this has by far been the best season for the NBA in maybe the past 5 years, because I feel like everybody's just right there. And I think it was shaping up. I mean, I was excited. I know I'm not the only one for just an incredible playoff push. And then getting in there, like, say, it's not even just about the finals. I was thinking of a LA Lakers versus LA Clippers matchup. I'm thinking of a Boston Celtics versus Milwaukee Bucks Western Conference Finals. Like, it was in for, I don't know. It's just that's where my mind goes with
I
it.
I wanted to see the Celtics play the Bucks to see if they could beat them this year. I wanted to see that series, because one-on-one, that would be a terrific game. But in a series, if the Celtics could beat the Bucks in a series, that would prove, like, don't get me wrong, that team is good. The Celtics do have a good team. Their bench is a little off, but if they manage to, with the deficiencies that they have, if they manage to get past the Bucks and into the finals, it would have been pretty damn interesting. There's a lot of, like, I want to see the Grizzlies and the Pelicans, fight it out for that. You know what I mean? For the playoff.
Spurs, come on, don't be hating.
Well, that's another one too. The Spurs too. They're not too far. I think they're 4 games out. Like, think about it. They get hot at the right time and they close that to like 1.5 with, like, 2 weeks, a week or 2 to go. I mean, for you, Rich, like, that's like, if they, like, you, like, that's something you want to see. Like, you got to be rooting for your
23rd year in a row, Bobby. That'd be an NBA record.
That's so. I mean, the storylines that were built around basketball, like, there was a ton of good, goods that were just not. I mean, I hope we get to see it. I hope they pick it up where, I hope this blows over and it picks up, and we just kind of continue life as normal. I mean, but there's the scariest part about it is that there's no guarantee at that.
Not at all.
So I got a question. Is there any way, do y'all see the NHL or the NBA, when they come back, if they come back, that they just say, look, the regular season is canceled. We're going to start the playoffs as is. We're going to give these teams about 10 practices, 10 days or 2.5 weeks or 2 weeks to prepare. And we're going to start the playoff as it finished when the games were ending. Like, for the NHL, the Preds are actually in the playoffs right now if you go by points or winning percentage. So it would actually they would have to decide how they determine who gets in the playoffs, because NHL wise, I heard this today, the Preds are in by points or winning percentage, but if they just went by wins alone, they would actually be out. So there's a lot of unique situations, but the question is, do y'all see a scenario where the NBA or the NHL, when they do come back, if they do, that they just start in the playoffs?
Go ahead.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we we've touched base on this throughout the stream, little points where I could easily see them canning the regular season, and we are talking about waiting to the last minute and just picking up the playoffs. And it would be awkward to just be like, all right, wherever you are right now, even though there's about 20 games left, that's where you are. So I could see, I think that's likely. If we're going to have a playoff season, I see this being a suspension for a couple weeks, especially with, as Bobby's already mentioned, right now, this disease and this outbreak, if you want to, epidemic, pandemic, whatever you want to call it, is going this way. It's not in the downward motion. It's fully right now in an upswing. And it's got to head this way, and that's probably going to take a couple weeks. And if I was a betting person, which I'm not a coach, I think that's what we're going to see. I think we're going to see a jump right from the regular season into the playoffs. If we do get any regular season left, it's going to be a very small one.
I think I'm not 100. I don't know if this is 100% confirmed, but I thought somebody reported that there might be like a 10-game regular season, 5 to 10-game regular season, and then they start the playoffs. But that who's really gonna what teams that's really gonna irk though? Those ones that are right on the bubble, that are right on the playoff bubble, and let's say they hit a 3-game losing skid, they go from being in to being out, and so those are the teams that it's really gonna hit, like, because if you're on the bubble, you want to talk about jumping right into that season playing red hot, you better, or you're done.
Yeah. I'm actually pulling up the NBA standings right now while we're speaking, because I know the Western Conference, it's
a mess.
It's a mess. Yeah. I mean, we look at the Western Conference, trying to pull it up. The Eastern Conference, I think, is a little more streamlined. Eastern Conference, it looks like it looks like unless the Wizards go on a huge run at the number 9 seed, that thing is pretty much what we have in the 8 are locked up. As we look at the Western Conference, the Grizzlies are 32-33. The Trailblazers are 3.5 games behind them. The Pelicans are 3.5 games behind them. The Kings are also 3.5 games out, and the Spurs are 4 games out. So that's a race. I mean, all these teams are sucking record-wise, but they're all in it. And even the Suns are a little kind of falling off right now, but still we have 5 teams trying to clinch that 8th seed. And now the season is, who knows if we're going to get another regular season game.
So this is an interesting idea, guys. I'll get your thoughts on this. What do you think about this idea for the playoffs? I just saw that too.
Wow.
That's not a bad idea. That would be interesting.
Sure would.
I would, but they're not going to do that, right? No chance.
It'd be like the NCAA tournament, NBA style.
Yeah. My wife brought up a good point. You got to think about the teams who've got people injured. If we get a month layoff and then we come back into action, there's some guys who could come in. Like I heard a scenario. How upset would the Celtics fans be that if it's like a 2-month layoff, but they start the playoffs and the Celtics play the Nets and KD and Kyrie comes back and they win it all?
Wow. I don't think Kyrie's going to be medically cleared, is he?
If that does happen, you're going to want to tune into my channel, because stuff will be thrown. Let's just put it that way.
Wow. I will say this. But living in Connecticut, I'm in a weird spot where I get all the team's body covers on TV for free, but I also get the Giants, Yankees, and the Nets are a local team for me. I don't really care about the Nets right now. They're going to be fun to watch next season if KD and Kyrie are at least 90%.
No, see, a lot of people have been saying that the Nets with a healthy KD and Kyrie could make, could surprise some people.
They're going to be tough.
But that's the think about this, right? LeBron James and Anthony Davis get a month to rest. Just rest. Just sit there and rest. LeBron, he's going to come into those playoffs fully charged, fully healthy. And if he knows all I got to do is play X amount of games and we can win a championship, how are you not betting the Lakers to win those games? How are you not?
The only team
That Western Conference is going to come down to the Lake Show and the Clippers.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only team I can see knocking off the Lakers in the Western Conference is the Clippers, and a lot of people in my streams have said, the Lakers have this all the way, nobody can stop in the West. I'm like, I know the Lakers just beat the Clippers not too long ago. Don't count out playoff Kawhi because seriously, I don't think he really cares about the regular season that much. We see it with all his load management. He's going to take. Well, he was on pace to take 20 games off this year. He's a different player in the playoffs, and that team is stacked too.
And not to mention the Raptors have been playing red hot as of late.
They're not there. I mean,
yeah. And here's another thing. Let's say they decide to, do away with the regular season. Let's just jump right into the playoffs, and let's say the NBA has one of the best playoffs they ever had. Well, then that just proves their point that they don't have to have an 82 game season.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coach, we could say a lot of sports. I mean, NHL 84 games?
82, I believe.
82, yeah.
Don't need 82 of those. And I like baseball. I'm a traditionalist, but do we need 162 of these things?
But we didn't even, we didn't even touch on that earlier, Rich. Think about all these sports teams when it does come back, like if they do manage to get this under control and we do get the resumption of these sports, these teams are going to be fresh, no injury. I mean, all these teams are going to be coming in. All these teams are going to be coming in full tilt, full bore, 110%. And and if you think about it, the playoffs, winning a title, so there's a lot of luck involved in winning a title. It doesn't matter what sport you're in. Winning a title, there is a percentage of luck involved in winning one.
There is huge luck. I look at two teams that I follow, the Giants. I hate to bring this up, but we had one of the most ridiculous Super Bowl plays in the history where Eli Manning should have been sacked back in 2008, and the helmet catch. That is luck. I'll admit that. And when you see something, when I saw that happen, I'm like, we have a chance to win this game now because we have luck. We saw it last season where the Nationals. Yes, I'm a Nats fan too. It's my National League team. I think they had a lot of luck. They beat the two best teams in baseball. They beat the Dodgers and had some luck there.
The Nationals didn't even they ran through that play. They ran through that luck and momentum was a huge part of that title run. They got wins over huge, huge opponents that they were let's be honest, they were underdogs in
not against the Cards. I found out they were actually favored against the Cards, but they beat the best team in the National League, the Dodgers, which everybody had going to the World Series, and they beat the cheating Astros, and I'm going to call them the cheating Astros because it's been proven they cheated. So the Astros obviously had a competitive advantage, and they did something that's never done in sports before, I believe. They won all their games on the road.
Yeah. Yep. Salsa says luck and no mistakes. Yeah, you don't. You don't make mistakes in big spots. That's how you win championships.
I will say this. I think the NHL would be the one league that has to have a few regular season games going in because NHL is so chemistry oriented.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that really I believe the Lightnings are one of the best teams out there. Whoever's those top teams in the NHL, they could be first round exits simply because of the chemistry and just the layoff, things like that. Here's another question, and I don't know how much longer y'all want to go, but I think this is and also a question that the NBA and the NHL will think about. What do y'all think if they push the playoffs to only 5-game series?
We got to do what needs to be. That's how, when I watched NBA back in the early 90s, the first round was 5 games. And I thought it was kind of cool. It's it's win 3 and you're done, clean sweep. I would be fine with that. I would rather have an abbreviated playoffs of 5 games and keep the NBA finals and NHL finals at 7. I'm a traditionalist. I want to keep those at 7. But if we have to do 5-game series for everything else, I'm fine with it. If I had to choose between that and no playoffs.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I would agree with that too.
Would you go as low as 3?
2 out of 3. Again, it's a question. Am I choosing 2 out of 3 over no playoffs?
Yeah.
But the home team, the top seed's going to have a massive advantage now because you're going to have 2 games at home and 1 on the road. So you might not even have to go on the road. You might have already cleaned it out at home.
Yeah.
So one thing we haven't touched base on tonight, we've talked about a lot of sports, and I want to bring this up and into the chat too, if you've heard anything about this, is we talked about all the sports that are getting canceled. Where does the UFC stand on this right now? Because that's one I haven't heard about yet.
Oh, that's a good one. They have to cancel. Dude, blood and spit and like,
Yeah.
like, come on, man. If like, think of how Rich, like you watch the UFC on the regular, like, dude, they think about when these guys are in submissions and they bust a guy, like let's say you bust a guy open, like, and you got him in a guillotine. The guy's bleeding all over you.
Yeah.
He's bleeding all over you.
Oh yeah, it's close. I mean, there's nothing closer now is when we talk about sports with the most contact. Nothing's more than UFC when you're in a grapple with somebody and they're bleeding in your mouth, and we've seen that. People are just they've used it as a tactic. Your eyeballs busted open, well, not your eyeball, your eyebrows busted open, and you're
in a guillotine,
and you're just you're just shaking your head and putting your blood in their eyes. I mean, I've seen people do it, and I got to think they're going to be canceled too. And they're another sport, like others we mentioned, that travel internationally. The UFC is not an American sport. It goes around the world. And I think that's going to have to be on hiatus. It hasn't been, as far as I know, announced yet. But I think that's there you go. UFC has to cancel in the chat. I think that's going to be the last one to go. But they got to do it. And it sucks because as a UFC fan, and if there are any UFC fans in the chat, or if you gentlemen are UFC fans, we've been waiting for Khabib versus Tony.
Eagle. Oh yes,
forever.
Yeah,
and it's supposed to happen in a couple weeks. Are we going to see that thing get canned again?
Yeah, I would think. I don't think. There's no way. They're out of all the sports. They have to. I mean, I haven't heard a statement from Dana White yet, but they have to. They have to.
Unless they're going to fight with no fans, which again, I'm not a fan of that. I remember watching one wrestling match with The Rock and Mankind in an empty arena 2 decades ago.
The empty arena match, yeah.
And it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. I mean, the match itself was okay, but just the silence was awkward.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just something. They have to. They have to. Like,
it's
they would
be UFC 249's April 18th. They have a couple of cards before that, so we have time for the Khabib and Tony one to be saved. If things are on the decline, if the virus is still ascending and there's still an outbreak and things are getting worse, we're gonna miss Khabib Tony again, and it's just tough to be a sports fan right now.
Hashtag take Ferguson.
Maybe we just never meant to ever see that fight ever.
I kind of want to see Ferguson beat him. I'm not going to be. I'm going to be honest. Just because he thinks he's untouchable.
What? That's number one bullshit.
He used. I mean, Grant, I'm an Eagle fan. Believe me, like not the Philadelphia Eagles. Fuck the Eagles. But I am a Khabib fan.
You are.
I like his. I just like the hard nosed. It's those Russian fighters, dude. They got jaws that are made of steel. Like the guy can. Have you seen him take some of those hits that he takes?
Yeah, like, moving forward.
The guy's like the damn Terminator.
He's Drago. I must break you. He just keeps coming forward.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I've seen him take some absolutely like monster shots that would knock. That would knock people out.
Now, I have a question for you two guys, because I saw this come up in the chat for both of you. Last night, and apparently I was the only YouTuber calling this game, I called the final, the She Believes Cup, USA versus Japan. And I saw somebody say this in the chat, my man Carlos, and I kind of thought about that too before I started my stream. Do you guys think it was risky for the United States to play Japan last night?
Oh, man, I didn't even – yeah. If I was one of them, I'd be like, I don't know how comfortable I am stepping on the pitch. I mean, I'm not trying to be that guy, but like, I'm looking out for my own personal well-being. Like, were they tested for corona before they flew over? Like,
I don't think so. I mean, the game was the panic, the huge panic button happened right during that game when I was calling, because everybody started coming to chat saying the NBA just got canceled. So I don't think there was, as far as I know, there weren't extra precautions. But I got to think, and that's not a knock to Japan anyway, but I think any country is not going to play an opposing country, just because the risk is so high that you're going to take something back to your country, because we could have had girls with it on our team that had it and we didn't know it. They're athletes. I mean,
what do you think? What do you think, Coach?
No, I 100% agree. I mean, I honestly, I didn't even know they played. I don't keep up with that as much. But no, I'm shocked that they did play that game. You would have thought that, because this was already picking up some steam, at just as far as like, playing in empty arenas like 5 days ago. So if that was already being talked about, I would have thought, if anything, the first things that would have gone was the World, Cup, playing games, things like that. So I'm shocked to hear that they actually did play.
No, when I think about the Cup, it's a small tournament. It's for women, an inspiring type of tournament. But when I think about it, it's like we had America, and this was all played in American soil in Texas, I believe. The U.S. was obviously part of it, my team, but also England, Spain, and Japan. So we're now bringing a bunch of different countries in, and it's secluded area. And I'm just thinking, like, wait a minute, we just did what we're not supposed to be doing right now over the last week.
Yeah, and you don't know if those, like we touched on it earlier. People don't realize how many people outside the team. Like, it's not only like what Rich, what's the soccer team? 20 girls?
I think the roster's 20.
So the 20 female athletes, from Japan and the US, and then they probably have 100 people that fly with them, between trainers, media people, between trainers, coaches, media people. I mean, once again, think outside the box. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't call that last night. But again, I think the whole sports world became crashing down, starting with Rudy Gobert. I hate to point a finger, but he's going to be the catalyst, and he's going to be one that people remember, I think, now.
All right.
As all this started.
Strap your tinfoil hats on there, gents, because here's my theory on that.
Oh, geez.
I think the sports world would have gone on with precautions, but it took an athlete to get it in a professional sport to that, for them to be like, oh shit, we better, damage control. You know what I mean? Yeah. Damage control, DEFCON 1.
100%.
Yeah.
If no athlete had got it, business as usual would have gone on.
I mean, they already came out and said the plans were to play in empty stadiums because why? Because they still make a buttload of money off TV deals.
Absolutely.
But the moment an athlete gets it, now you're talking about one athlete could get 50 athletes infected. They have to. I mean, they're backed into a corner. It's nothing else they can do. I 100% agree. If they felt like no players would get it, they would at least go to, we're going to play in empty arenas and everybody can watch it on the TV.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks. The Jazz, Rudy's
that's the messed up part about it, though. Like, business as usual would have gone on, and none of this, like, the fans would not have been attending, but games would still be played. It literally took an athlete of a professional sport. I was just, it's almost like we were waiting for it. Like, that's what it was going to take to happen for them to. It's like, we're not going to do anything unless one of our athletes gets infected, and it happened. And now they're like, and that's why the domino fell. Like, it was like, that was the one domino that they needed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was that one domino too much. Yep. That's all it took. And then it's like, damage control goes into full effect.
And I think, Coach Bobby, we all expected this. Once the NBA suspended their season, I expected everything else to be shut down today.
Yep.
Well, because then it would be a bad look on all the other sports. If they're like, oh, you don't care about your players, you're just going to keep status quo. Because I truly think, me and Butcher was talking, the NHL did not want to postpone their season. They're just 10 games. They're just like 10 games away from the postseason. They did not want to postpone, and they thought about it long and hard, but they just had people tell them, look, if you don't, It's not going to be pretty. The backlash is not going to be pretty. They had to. Their hands were tied.
Carlos, I think the Daytona 500 already happened, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
The Indy 500 is coming up, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I see.
Yeah, the Daytona 500 happened. The Indy is the next one.
Indy,
I think, is the next one.
Last time I saw, I think I seen something where there's for the next 2 weeks, NASCAR races are going to go on without people in the stands, and the golf tournament going right now, the Players Championship, is supposed to continue to be played without people in the stands.
That's in Massachusetts. That's in a little town of that's in a little town in Mass, and it is. They have nobody, no media, no one. The players, and that's it.
So, Coach, NASCAR without people in the stands, so it's just gonna be normal.
Right? Yeah.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Why you gonna do my homie like that, Rich?
Truth, though.
I should ban your ass for that.
But you know what? All three of us might be covering play-by-play of NASCAR this Sunday because there's nothing else to do.
Oh, look, he's making a left turn. Oh, look, it's another left turn.
News, he's turning left, and he's turning left again.
Have either of you guys tried calling racing on your channel?
I saw one guy. I've only seen one or two people do it, and the way they have it set up, the way they have to work, like they manually switch the leaderboard. Like the guy was manually switching a leaderboard. I was like, dude, you're working way too hard, man. Like just like, but it's set up like phenomenal. Like it must have taken him. I don't even know how many hours on OBS it must have taken him to set it up the way he had it, but it was insane.
You need to show me that video. I would like to see that sometime if you can find it.
You called it on your channel?
What's that?
Have you called a race on your channel?
No, I have not. My brother has called a truck race on his channel.
I did call the Indy 500 this year or last year, and I will say, I did the manual leaderboard, but just with the top 2 spots, which was a nightmare, especially when there's a pit, because all bets are off. That leaderboard just I'm like, you know what, screw it. Until the pits correct themselves, I'm not changing it. But it was really, and I'm not knocking racing, but the first 180 laps were tough to call because it's just, you really, those last 20 to 10 laps is where the action is, because then there was constantly lead position changes, and it was extremely exciting in those last 10 minutes. But before that, just like it kind of really felt going through the motions unless there was a crash, and there wasn't last year. Indy 500 was a clean race.
And that's why racing's got a problem. Everybody's just trying to get to the last 10 laps, and there's no entertainment. And there used to be entertainment before people, because I don't know. I just know NASCAR used to be better back in the day. They used to not have those same issues, and nowadays
you want to know why? You want to know why NASCAR used to be better when we were kids, Coach?
What's up?
There was true bad blood.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
True bad blood against dude. Certain racers and the racers that we grew up watching, dude, they hated each other. Like there was true bad blood. You were actually, there were guys out there that were rubbing, they were rubbing these guys and pushing them off the line. They were doing all that, and putting them into walls on purpose. Like there was true bad blood when we were growing up.
Yeah, and you didn't. And you go.
I was just saying, to touch on that can be applied to a lot of sports, because a lot of games now, you see the game end, you're like, yeah, good game, man. Yeah, that was awesome. Shaking hands, exchanging autographs.
They're all friends. They all making hundreds of millions of dollars. There's no bad blood.
But
the
when
2000, how much did the Lakers and Celtics hate each other when Kevin Garnett was playing for the Celtics and they were playing in the finals? How much bad blood would that, dude? They hated each other then. Kevin Garnett, he says it today. He goes, I can't fucking stand the Lakers. I hate that team.
I'm going to one up you on that one. Reggie Miller and the Knicks.
And
Reggie Miller and Spike Lee hated each other. Somebody in the freaking audience. I mean, it was so much venom back in the 90s between the Bulls, the Knicks, and the Pacers. Living on the East Coast, I saw those games more than the West Coast games, and they were fun to watch because they just like you said, they hated each other.
Hated each other.
No, yeah, bro. Hey, let's get a selfie. Exchange
jerseys and all that. No,
weird.
there was none of that.
Kind of miss it.
Yep.
But that, and it adds a whole new aspect because like the hard fouls, like the guys, you know what I mean? Like I'm telling, there's no more bad blood because they're all on the same teams. They all got the same agents. They're all making hundreds of millions of dollars. They're all, you know, and they all, most of them go where the money is. There's no team loyalty. You know, there's no team loyalty anymore. They're loyal to the dollar. There's no team loyalty anymore.
No.
You don't see guys like Brady that spend 20 seasons in one team. You don't see guys like Kobe that spend 15. You don't see guys like that are loyal to those teams that say like, I will stay, surround me with a team so we can win a damn title.
Especially that way in the NBA. Like NFL, you see them stick with their teams. A lot of times they're a 10-year pro and it's the team that's cutting them out, But in the NBA, that's where their problem is. Like, you can't have a star stay in the NBA. It seems like they're constant. I mean, it's already been reported apparently that Giannis says that if they don't make the finals, he's out,
Yeah.
So
as a Spurs fan, I've been blessed that my favorite player, David Robinson, played there his whole career, but also Tim Duncan played his whole career in Spurs.
Yeah.
As a Spurs fan, bro, you must have been in like your heyday watching Robinson and Duncan, the years that they did manage to get on the court together. Like that's a freaking dream, dude. Like those two were so good. They were.
I don't want to talk about the Spurs too much because obviously you're New England, but I'll say it's been people sometimes call me a bandwagon with the Spurs. Fine, I don't care. I've been a fan since '91. And if you just look at this first coat that I had on at the start of the stream, you can tell this thing is old as, I mean, come on, this is
old. Oh, that's the old.
Can't be when you're irrelevant.
No, but that's what I mean. Like
it's to win. And the Warriors right now are a team that I look at, like, if they get the number one overall pick, they're going to have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and whoever they draft. And the Spurs lucked into that number one draft pick because the Admiral was out for 76 games. The team tanked without him. Not on purpose. They just sucked. They had he was the whole team in the 90s.
Yeah.
Drafting Duncan, Dynasty's born, and we could see that rebirth with the Warriors.
That run with Mano, Duncan, and Robinson kind of directing the hell, Tony Parker, like all those guys, Tony Parker, all like that starting five they were hard to beat.
Robinson wasn't there for the Parker Ginobili. He cut out right before that.
No, I know, but he set that out. Like they set that. It's a transition. They went from, they transitioned from, they've had team, like just a, they transition from, these superstars and then they just build new ones.
They went from the Twin Towers to their big three. And it was seamless. I mean, yes, Tim Duncan was the center of that for both teams, but they transitioned to a totally different type of style of play. Now that we don't have that now, we've totally lost all that with the Kawhi Leonard nightmare from 2 years ago, which and
you know what it does too, like especially like when your teams it breathes life into a city. Coach, I can't imagine what that run in Tennessee must have been like for you guys, beating the Patriots and the Ravens. Like that must have been like 2 weeks, like a little slice of heaven just placed right in front of you. Like,
especially when you know where they came from. They were 2-4 and everybody was already talking about all their mock drafts, and then they make that run and it with every win, it was just building and building and building, and they were one win away from the top of Tootsie's off Broadway from just blowing off if they could have found a way to beat them. But not, I mean, and that's unfortunately, that's what we're missing right now with sports being taken away. It's those magical moments like that, and we talk about our channels, like we're going to have to be creative and stuff. As far as my channel, I'm a gaming and sports, so it's going to transition to a lot more gaming.
I might have to buy me a PS4 and pull up on it.
But like we talk about our channels, like it's going to suck just to watch ESPN. What are they going to talk about for a month?
But like in all seriousness though, guys, before we kind of like just kind of wrap it up, it's going to be so weird. Like, think about this. We could go 8 weeks with no sports, nothing.
Well, yeah, there's a chance our next sporting event could be college football.
Yeah.
Don't cover it.
What's that?
I don't cover it, so
Yeah, I know, but like say that kicks off before NFL, so that could realistically, like, if the NHL and the NBA folds, that could be the next real event we get back to watching. Well, I mean, surely the MLB would get started before then, surely, but
yeah. So, Coach, I want to show you something real quick. Sorry, Bobby, I got to do this. But my most popular reaction video, I'm not going to play the video, but I'm going to see if you can show the thumbnail.
look at that thumbnail.
You know.
I love that thumbnail.
Thank you.
Sports reaction. I've never found your channel, so I've just got connected with you. So I look forward to, watching your videos. That thumbnail right now. That thumbnail right there, man.
It's his reaction to the final play of the Titans and the Patriots game, and I promise you, Coach, you will enjoy it.
Okay, I'll have to go look at it. I mean, he's Beavis and Butthead in the thumbnail. What? It's got to be great, right?
For my OBS streams, I used to keep, like, they were my couch contingent watching the game, but I've finally kind of just grown out of a little bit, and I just have players from the games now. But yes, I used to watch the games with Beavis and Butthead and Britney Spears. And
do you have the crew with you by any chance, or no?
Can I change the background without getting blocked out of here?
No. Do you have Beavis available? Personal appearance.
So Mini Eli was a part of the stream. That's Mini Eli Manning puppet.
Coach. Mini Eli Man. That's Eli.
Wow, Eli.
I don't know where my mom got this. She got it like a decade ago. No idea.
So what? He's got a crew.
He's got the crew with him. Yeah.
Oh, before they were PNGs, Coach, Transparents.
That's
hi, Coach. Hey, everybody. Hit the thumbs up. It looks like this.
Hey, that's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty good.
Can we before we head out of here, can we get a closing from Freddie? A closing thought from Freddie?
A closing thought from Freddie. Okay. I'm trying to think of a little lyric I can put together. You put me on the spot there, brother.
Sorry. Or just how about that for a live stream from Freddie?
No, I want to think of something creative. Give me a second.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, Rich. That was my bad.
That's all right.
While he's thinking, I have to say this. My wife wants me to reiterate to everybody to keep your heads calm, stay cool and collective. Don't freak out about everything that's going on. Just make sure everybody's being smart, washing their hands, for 20 seconds at least.
Don't be fighting nobody for no toilet paper.
Yeah. Dude, we don't have toilet. What's toilet paper? Because we don't have it down here anymore.
No,
I just saw a picture of my local Walmart and it is empty.
Y'all gotta wipe with your hand.
Go outside and get some pine cones.
All right, Bobby, I got one for you.
All right.
The coronavirus. You'll be sick in bed, but a nightmare with me, and you'll be dead.
I like it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
All right, guys. Well, as we've talked about for the last almost 2 hours, this is a wide effect virus. It's not, it hit the sports world pretty hard, and it hit up, it's like we said, you got to look outside the sports, the little box that we have in our sports world. It is far reaching. And hopefully the the healthcare professionals that we have in the States are, they're very good at what they do. The CDC is on top of it, and hopefully we can we can resume life. Is the sporting world can resume its normal activities as it should be, pretty soon. And like we've said, a couple of times in the chat, guys, just use common sense. This isn't, don't, it's just be smart about it. That's all. That's my best. Be smart, wash like the CDC tells you guys, wash your hands and just, be smart about it. That's all. That would be my best. Use common sense and just be smart about it. That's all I can, that would be my best advice to, there's no reason to, you don't need to be in a mass hysteria. It's just be smart about it. That's all I can say. Be smart.
100% agree.
But once again, guys, we all hope, all of our sports channels, we all hope that life, in the sports community, it will go on. We are all going to still be putting out content. We are not going to stop. We're still going to be hanging out with all of you guys. And we are still going to be going live, and we will be hanging out with all of y'all. You're just going to see, some different content from us. But we will not be going anywhere.
It's like Jurassic Park always said, life finds a way.
Always finds a way.
Nice.
So from myself, Butcher's Block and Patriots Talk, the sports reaction and the coach plays, y'all have a good rest of your evening, and we are out of here. Peace.
Peace.